Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us for this episode of Stories of Music. Please like and subscribe the video on YouTube if you'd like to show your support for what we do. We are continuing our series on bands with unusual names this week. So if we go back to the spring of 1966, Neil Young and fellow Canadian Bruce Palmer were spending some time in Los Angeles. Now, they were actually looking for somebody. They were looking for Stephen Stills, who Neil Young had met the year before. Now, Neil Young had met Bruce Palmer when Palmer invited him to join the band Mynah Birds. Unfortunately, that band actually got its record contract with Motown canceled when the lead singer got in trouble with the law for being AWOL from the Navy. Needless to say, Neil Young and Bruce Palmer had some time on their hands after that, so they actually pawned all of the equipment of the band, bought themselves a 1953 Pontiac hearse, and made their way down to Los Angeles, where again they were looking for Stephen Stills. Unfortunately, they were unsuccessful, and after a week of searching all the clubs and coffee houses in town, they decided to drive up to San Francisco. They were literally stuck in traffic on Sunset Boulevard on their way out of town when who should come the other way but Stephen Stills and an acquaintance, Richard Furay. They were also stuck in traffic on Sunset. The two vehicles pulled off on the side of the road, and literally right there, the four men decided to start a band. With the suggestion of the manager of the band, The Byrds, they actually were joined by drummer Dewey Martin. Fast forward a couple of months, now they are actually the house band of the club Whiskey A Go Go. By then, they had themselves a name. But what do you name a band that is a merger of two Canadian artists and two American artists? Well, in front of the house that Stephen Stills and Richard Furay were staying at in Los Angeles, there was parked one of those machines with the large rollers on it that they used to flatten roads. It was from the company Buffalo Springfield Roller Company, itself a company that was a merger of two other companies. Thus, Buffalo Springfield were born. Now, like I said, they did spend some time on the Sunset Strip as the house band of Whiskey A Go Go. Now, down the street from that club was another club called Pandora's Box, and it was very popular with the young people of the city and would feature a lot of the bands that would become household names in the future. Unfortunately, this presented a bit of a problem between all the noise and the crowds and the parking issues. After all, it was on one of the busiest intersections in Los Angeles. The locals were starting to complain to the police in the city that they had had enough with all of the crowds. So the city of Los Angeles actually instituted later in 1966 a curfew for that part of Sunset. Now, this didn't actually go over very well with all of the music fans, and they showed their displeasure with what would be known as the Sunset Strip curfew riots in November and December of 1966. Now, unfortunately, as a result of these riots, Pandora's Box actually closed down, and it would be demolished later in 1967. However, they did actually open for one night only, Christmas Day, 1966. And it was there that Stephen Stills debuted a song that he had written in honor of these riots. That would be the song that the Buffalo Springfield would become most famous for what it's worth, also known occasionally as Stop, What's That Sound? Now, unfortunately, Buffalo Springfield didn't actually last very long. They ended up breaking up in 1968 after a number of personal disputes and actually a fairly well-known incident where there were some drug arrests after a rehearsal party with not only members of that band, but also no less than Eric Clapton. Now, the members of the band did actually go on to other organizations. Neil Young, of course, joining David Crosby of the Byrds and Graham Nash of the Hollies to form, with Stephen Stills, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Richard Furay went on to with Jim Messina to make the country band Poco, and the other members went on to solo careers. Buffalo Springfield did actually make the Hall of Fame in 1997. Unfortunately, again, thanks to personal disputes, Neil Young wasn't part of that observation. Thanks for joining us for this week for Stories of Music. Again, if you'd like to show your support, don't hesitate to hit the like button on your screen, and we'll see you next time for more Stories of Music. Bye for now.